Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on my new Plum paper planner. This is a random video and all of my videos are pretty planned out, but sometimes there is a random video here or there. But the reason for this video is because I was just referencing my budget planner and closing it out for the month and talking about it in a video. And so I thought it might be worth kind of recapping my month, my personal month, like all of that type of stuff in my personal planner. And so that is what we're going to be doing today. So I have with me my Plum paper planner. I have a couple of covers now, but this is the one that we're going to be using today. Or this is not the one that we're going to be using today. This is the one that is on my planner as of right now. So I will say that I have loved the setup overall, but we are pretty much just going to talk about September, and we're going to be talking about my goals, fitness, and like all kinds of things that I was made aware of because I was tracking them in my planner. I haven't tracked these things in a long time, and I haven't really paid attention to, like, I wouldn't be able to tell you, like, you know, how many days I worked out unless I had my Apple Watch on, which sometimes I don't wear my Apple Watch. I wouldn't be able to tell you like some of these types of things because I haven't been tracking them, but I tracked them in September and it kind of smacked me in the face. Some of the stuff was great. I had great results from some things, but other things were, you know, could use a little help. So let's talk about it. So at first, I do want to talk about the fact that I have loved the aesthetic. I didn't love my first cover, but I have some more covers now. I remember the other ones that I have, but this is the one that I'm using now because it's giving fall. She's giving fall vibes. I have loved having my highlighter over here in the coil, and I have loved having this pin loop attached to the back. I attached it to the vinyl page protector because I didn't want to attach it to the cover because I knew that the cover would be changing out. And honestly, I was thinking of ripping out the clear cover all in all because it's so scratched up and banged up that it's actually unbelievable. But I have loved having my pen. I've loved using this particular pen, this Micron Pigma. I bought a whole pack, so I have 01, 03, 05, 08, and 003 or 1 or 5 or something like that. So I have a bunch of different tips with like varying thickness, if you will. But I've loved having my pen right here. I cannot use this pen to write on the dashboard, like the monthly tab, because it's not even the monthly tab. Yeah, it's the monthly tab, even though it doesn't take you to the monthly. I haven't been able to use this pen on that, so basically I just really don't use it that much unless I happen to have, you know, a Sharpie pen or some kind of marker or whatever where I can write on the dashboard. Otherwise, I haven't used it. As far as the coil, y'all know one of the reasons why I love the coil is because I can kind of clip things on there and put pins and stuff on there. So in October, I'm using more of this like peachy mild liner, which I've loved using. It is dual tip, so therefore, you know, you can get some stuff done if you use both tips. One's like a marker, one's like a highlighter. So I just have the color that coordinates with the month inside of my coil. So currently it's October, even though I'm recapping September. So I switched out the, I switched out like the green minty color for this peachy orange type of color. I've loved my front aesthetic with my paper clips. Honestly, I haven't really referenced a lot of these other sheets, like I'm not even gonna lie. And so we're just not even gonna be bothered with that. We're just gonna go ahead and start right at the monthly dashboard, monthly tab. As far as flipping to the monthly, it's been a little weird having to flip the page, you know, flip the tab, and then you're not taken to the monthly. That's been a little interesting. But I will say it hasn't been super, super weird because before I was using this, I was using inserts that I created and I had like little tabs. So I don't even know if that was a thing then. So I'm not even tripping about it, but what I do know is since I was using a ring bound planner, I was moving around the like different tabs and stuff frequently. But I don't even know, like, it's weird for a spiral bound planner to have that going on, I will say, but I can't like be on here really complaining because I don't think I've been doing that for the past couple of years. But I have loved using the September tab as like a dashboard, and I have like little paper clips that are cute, and you know, have the picture of my husband. I have sticky notes. I have this week, so that's what I've been doing. I have been kind of putting a this week on the monthly tab and I've just been referencing that since that's kind of like the first thing that I opened up to, especially for September, because my planner started in September. So I've loved having that, and I do use that, and I fill that out weekly, and I've been doing that for quite some time in like various planners. But of course, it would be great if the planner actually had a like week at a glance type of situation. That's one of my favorite things about planning, is having like a monthly, a weekly, and then daily, which is asking for a lot, which is why I was using a ring bound planner, so I could create those different inserts myself and make it happen. That's just a joy, or one of the positives of having a ring bound planner. And then I've also like just having like my little sticky note dashboard here. Opening up, again, I really paid no real mind to like this whole dashboard section, like the birthdays, the events, the things to remember. I did reference it, like I'm not gonna say I didn't reference it at all, but I will have to say that it didn't really, you know, make that big of a difference to me. You know, like it could have been there or not been there, it wouldn't have mattered to me. As far as the notes pages, I will say that I added in 2 additional notes pages. So you get one at the front and then you get some at the back. So I'm just gonna talk about all of the monthly, like the notes pages. I didn't really use the first one. I was tracking like cash that I had been receiving for my birthday, and I was trying to monitor or track my spending for my birthday, but I eventually gave up on that. That was like the day of my birthday, stuff that was happening like early in the morning, I feel like. So I kind of gave up on that. But as you can see, I didn't even really use that first notes page, and I really didn't use the ones in the back either. As far as my monthly spread, I loved creating this New York City vibe over here to the right, even though it was like a lot of purples and stuff and kind of threw off my vibe. But we got some stickers for I Spoke at the Sugary Gal shop, and we got swag. They sent us swag beforehand, and so that was one of the things. So I use every sticker on the sheet. So shout out to the sticker spectrum, the stickerspectrum.com for that little, it's giving New York for sure. But I loved my monthly spread. I had appointments and meetings and things in here. I loved how it came out. I used varying, like different stickers from all over the place, truthfully. But I love the like pinky, the like minty, you know, like that kind of thing that it had going on. It had some foil, gold foil, which is my favorite. I loved that. I just really loved everything about my monthly, and I did reference it because I always reference it. So let's just talk about the dailies. So I was kind of starting out, I'm doing this video this way because I'm not really sure if there's like non-HIPAA stuff in here, or like if there is HIPAA stuff in here. So I'm just gonna kind of walk you guys through it a little bit. But I was starting out using pretty much a pen and like a few stickers and a few highlighters, a gray highlighter. Then I started incorporating a few more stickers, as you can see. And then at some point, I decided to whip out the purple highlighter. Then I whipped out the green highlighter. And then I was using a little bit more stickers. So that was fun. That was like my birthday week. So I was kind of doing the most. And then, yeah, my whole birthday week, I was off of work, by the way. So I was doing a whole bunch. Then I started bringing in like other little functional stickers. And so that was fun. That was really cute and functional. And then I found my blue mild liner at some point, you know, like the one that kind of matches the page. And then I started using that one along with a few stickers. On the weekends, wasn't really planning too much, and just kind of went with it. Basically, I was highlighting, I will say I was pretty much just highlighting the most important tasks that I wanted to get done in that day. So that's what I was highlighting, if you were wondering. I loved putting my top priorities, my today's priorities, I always say top priorities, in the today's section and checking them off, because they really are my top priorities. Every day, I like to take my medication, I like to exercise, and I like to budget. Those are really 3 things that always take precedence. I will feel like, I do feel like I could put like hanging with my family on there, but we do that in the form of exercise. So we go on walks, my husband and I work out in the garage. So it kind of like is all encompassing, if you will. So I loved that. As far as my schedule, what I was doing is kind of, I started using it, started my day whenever I woke up, but then I was like, I don't have enough room and stuff for that Like, and also I don't need to put on my planner that I was asleep. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, you don't need to do that, but at some point I was like, I just need to do it when like the first important thing takes place for the day, which is my full-time job, typically, you know, most often than not. So I just started putting the start of my work day on here, and I was planning, I do always plan pretty much the day before. So at work, I plan the next day, and then when I get home at night, you know, in the evening, I'll plan the next day for personal. So if that makes any sense. But I love the schedule. I would highlight meetings and appointments just so they kind of pop out off of this white page. I did think about using different colored like markers and stuff, but I never got around to it, but that could be fun, especially for like color coding and stuff like that. I loved my diet and exercise section. I am a little hesitant about the diet word and that terminology, but I just went with it because whatever. But I liked that there were enough sections for breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, exercise. Now, it's not a guarantee that I'm going to consume a meal for each one of those times of the day, but I did like to put it down in case, like, you know, create a space for it in case I did have it, and so I could track it. So I loved tracking my meals, and the reason why I started tracking my meals is because I do have the fitness section in here, and it does prompt me or you or one to think about your food habits. I think you're like your diet, I think, for the month. So I was like, well, let me start tracking what I'm putting in my body so I can rightfully, you know, kind of track that. As for my to-dos, like I said, I was highlighting those that were most important, but because the majority of my life is spent at my full-time job, I do put my work tasks first, and as I'm writing them, I'll go ahead and start putting work tasks at the top. That's how it works for my brain. And then I'll start putting home stuff at the bottom of the to-do list. The reason why this is a thing is because that's how my brain works. I get up, I go to my full-time job and do all the things there, and then I come home and then I do all the things here. And so that's how I conceptualize my to-do list. And most often than not, the things that are at the top of the list for work are the ones that get highlighted, but sometimes I don't highlight those things because sometimes it's something that I would like to get to, but there's no deadline for me, you know, it's not like a crunch time for me to get the task done. So I would kind of push it off to the next day. And I was happy to write like a half check mark if I partially did the task or like started on it. That was my thought. If I've started on it or attempted it or halfway did it, I would put like a diagonal line, which is like half a check mark if it was completed, and an X if it was not completed. And if it needed to be taken to the next day, I took it to the next day. I'm happy to do that. I don't need to cross off everything off my to-do list. I'm not Superwoman, so I just took it to the next day. I will say, for the notes page, so that's pretty much it for that, I think. If I remember something else, I'll come back in October and like do this whole thing kind of again. I don't know how frequently I'm gonna do it, but we're doing it for today because this is my first month. For one of the note sheets, which is actually the one that came standard with the planner, I ended up using it as a family sessions tracker thing for work, which worked out fine. And what I did do in October though, I do know, is that I used the second sheet, one that didn't have a daily on it, so that if I wanted to rip it out and shred it or rip it out and keep it, I could, and it wouldn't have to be like a part of my planner. So like I kind of put that stuff on one sheet so that I could kind of separate it, because technically it's like HIPAA stuff, like stuff I kind of was like free on those pages and writing like actual names and stuff like that. So in my head, if I wanted to ever make my planner HIPAA compliant for sure, then sometimes I use like initials and letters and just like a code that I have in my head. But if I ever wanted to for sure make this HIPAA compliant, I can just rip it out and shred it or do whatever I need to do with it. So that's what I'm gonna do moving forward with October. But for the notes pages for September, I did use them as I was creating, as I was kind of like taking notes and trying to conceptualize some different, you know, things about stuff. But I will say that I definitely didn't use all of them or use them as much as I thought that I would. I guess I didn't use 2 of them in this case, but yeah, there's that. For the monthly cleaning, I am thinking that I'm not gonna rip it out each month. I pay for these sheets. I might use it later on in life, but I'm thinking that this is pretty much a waste if you have the home section, which I have, so you don't really need that. For the budget, again, I pretty much just put the budget in here as a reference so I could be reminded of what's going on if I wasn't in front of my budget planner, because I have this planner with me more often than not. My budget planner is kind of just sits on a desk and I don't really take it anywhere. So therefore, it was important for me to write this down so I could just like quickly reference it. Is it important? Not really. Did I fill it out for October? Yes. Am I probably gonna fill it out for each month? Yes, only because this is where our budget is. I would say I would probably use this way more if I didn't use an app as well. So I do have to say that. For the fitness, I use this to the T, like front and back. Your girl was all up in it. I measured my weight goal, my BMI goal. Like I put that on there, sorry. I also put my weight actual, my BMI actual. For vitamins, I use that for medication. So I would just put a check in that section if I took my medication, which looks like there's only one day that I didn't take it, but I didn't have this planner. I didn't start using this planner until the second week of September. So I don't track if I take my medication or not, technically. Like I can remember like the next day if I took it or not, but I don't really remember, you know, how many times in a month that I take it, that if I took it or if I didn't take it. So this has been interesting. For my sleeps, I put how many hours of sleep I got. So I put on here how many hours I got, like on the, let's say the 30th, I put how many hours of sleep I got that night on the 30th. So not going into the 30th, but going into the next day, which in this case is October 1st. So going into the next day, that's how I tracked my sleep. And what I've learned is kind of what I already knew, but I knew that my average was about 8 hours because I strive for that. I create space for that. And so my average is about 8 hours. For my steps, that was interesting. And what was fun is that I kind of like tried to, you know, one up myself as the month went on, trying to see how many steps I could get. Exercise, I was able to track my different exercises, and which was fun because I was able to link them to how many steps, you know, that each exercise brought about, if you will. And then my water, which was interesting because 2 days before I started using this planner, or 2 days after I went to the doctor, they told me I was dehydrated, I needed to drink more water. So I started more adamantly trying to track my water intake. In fact, I don't even think I was tracking water until I went there. And then I was like, oh, let me track what I've been drinking for the previous 2 days, which was when I first got this planner. And I just put like, you know, made some marks of it. It wasn't that much. So I do tend to drink more the more that I work out, of course, but I want to be drinking more water. And my little cup in my head, my little cup on here is like 8 ounces. That's pretty much what I call. Actually, I have water here. Listen, I take water with me everywhere. Your girl, when I go back to the doctor, I don't have time for dehydration. Although it's always something. It's like, you had a vitamin D deficiency and blah, 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 blah. So I'm always gonna have like a slight, I'm not always gonna have, but I feel like I've been having like a slight issue here or there. You need to do this and decrease that and so on and so forth. That's why this is important. For the back, this month's goal, I had my goals on here, which I met 2 of them. And I had my weight overview. So I tracked my weight in an app. I don't use an app, I use a scale, but the scale is fancy and has an app, so it links it together, for which case it'll do my BMI and all that. So that's how I know that. I don't just know this off the top of my head. That's how I know my BMI. So I would just weigh myself once a week, take the stats from the app and put it over here, which is fun because I feel like, again, I have my planner with me and I'm referencing it more than like my phone. And I'm not going into my phone and different apps and trying to pull out stuff throughout the day. Like if I want to quickly glance at an event, I'm not going to go to or what I have going on for work. I'm not going to go to my work calendar. I'm more likely just going to look at my planner. I have my motivation and rewards on here. I have my fitness, because what's interesting is that I said I was going to exercise 8 times per month, and I didn't even it didn't even really cross my mind that I was going to surpass that. But I did about 13 workouts, which is pretty good, but I want to do more in October. I started strength training with my husband in the garage. We ordered a little, That's what it was. That's why our shopping budget was a little high for September, because I bought, like, you know, we had concerts and we bought clothes and we bought workout equipment and like other things. But that was something that I started, and my nutrition was good. How do I know my nutrition was good? Because I went back and looked, and my definition of good is low carb, and that might not be everyone's definition of good, but when I'm not eating chips and cookies and cakes and pies that are heavy in carbs and not like keto friendly or low carb friendly, then I consider that to not be really eating well. My low carb was pretty good, and about 90% of my days, I didn't even have cake on my birthday, but about 90% of my days were low carb and pretty good. Then we have the reflection, which I didn't think I would care about, but I do and did care about it. Past month, fun, exciting, fulfilling. I did my wellness scale. September was good. My productivity wasn't at, I guess this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a scale of 1 to 10. I would say my productivity was about an 8. And then my health was about a 9 out of 10. I started psychopathology, which is one of my college classes. I started my new diet and exercise routine, plus drinking more H2O, or tracking that and being mindful of that. I finished my low carb diet. We went to the Trap Museum. We tried Sauvignon Blanc. We tried a bunch of different wines. My husband actually gave me an at-home wine tasting for my birthday, which was September the 15th. And we went to the Trap Museum for his birthday, by the way, September the 4th. And then we had a kitchen dance party that was so fun. We went to Atlanta, Georgia, Orlando, Florida, and IKEA. We tried Twisted Soul House in Atlanta, Twisted Soul Cookhouse in Atlanta, Boll Weevil, Here Where We Live, and First Watch in Orlando. I watched a lot of dog training YouTube videos because that's what I do with my life. And I watched Transformers, which I kind of want to watch today. Again, the same one, the first one. Although my favorite is probably, it might be Dark of the Moon. I think it is, but they're so long. Gosh, okay. Most memorable, my husband bought me this huge bouquet of flowers, massive, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, legit. That was the most memorable part of my day, and they were delivered on my birthday. Most memorable part of my life, of my month. Also, Michelle sent me some Ivy Park. That was really exciting because I wasn't expecting that for my birthday, but that's what I got. Also, we did the at-home wine tasting. I went to a J. Cole concert, and then we also went to Legends of the Streets, which included Rick Ross, Young Jeezy, Gucci Mane, Trina, and 2 Chainz. So that was one part of my reflection. And yeah, I also used the back of the reflections, the reflection sheet, talking about my main goals, which I achieved all of them. So I love that for me. And speaking on the relaxing for my birthday, I took off like 4 days or 5 days, my birthday week, and it was so much. I loved it. I also put on here progress that I made this month, how I succeeded this month, which is kind of like a reiteration of some of the other things we've talked about, how I can improve for next month, which also kind of like a reiteration because I've already talked about it, and also steps to reach improvement. So kind of like, I use that to kind of break down further those goals, if you will. And then also the to-do list, I did use that a lot. I had personal, home, YouTube, other business, so like Etsy, miscellaneous, scheduling, work. What I have learned is that moving forward in October, I don't need all those sections, so I just have personal, family or home or something, business, and work, which is my full-time job. So that's all that I needed for that. As far as my first month in this planner, I absolutely adored it and loved it. I also just loved September as a whole, but also I did love having this planner and using it in September. It did bring a lot of joy to my life in September, which is kind of wild, but it did. Just having this planner really did. So that is it for this video. Let me know what you planned in for the month of September. Let me know if you've made a change recently. Let me know if you're itching for a change, if you want to change. Just let's talk planners down below in the comment section, because that's one of my favorite things to do. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did by giving it a like or a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your bell notifications. Again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.